If you're struggling quietly, if no one is clapping for you, if it feels heavy and slow and lonely right now, there's a chance you're actually on the right track. I know that sounds backwards. At 25, I would have laughed at that idea. I thought struggle meant something was wrong. I thought if life felt hard, I must be failing, so I ran from it. And that decision shaped everything that came after. Before I continue, if you're in your 20s or 30s and you're trying to build a better life, even when it feels uncomfortable, subscribe. I don't speak from success, I speak from regret, and regret teaches lessons success never can. I'm 70 years old now, and the biggest mistake I made was assuming that the right path would feel good immediately. I thought progress would feel exciting, motivating, and rewarding. I didn't understand that real growth often feels boring, isolating, and unrewarded for a long time. So when things got difficult, when effort didn't bring instant results, I assumed I was on the wrong path, and I turned back. The truth is, the most important work in your life often happens quietly. No audience, no praise, no visible progress. When you're learning discipline, when you're building skills, when you're saying no to distractions, it doesn't look impressive. It looks like you're missing out. And that's why so many people quit right there. I did. In my 20s, I wanted proof before commitment. I wanted results before effort. I wanted reassurance before sacrifice. But life doesn't work in that order. The people who were quietly struggling, waking up early, working when no one noticed, choosing effort over comfort, they weren't behind. They were laying foundations. I mistook silence for failure and noise for progress. So if your life feels hard right now, if you're doubting yourself while still showing up, if you're tired from effort, not distraction, don't panic. That quiet struggle might not be a sign that you're lost. It might be a sign that you're finally doing the work I avoided for most of my life. When I was younger, I measured progress by how it looked from the outside. If people noticed, if results came quickly, if life felt smooth, I assumed I was moving in the right direction. Quiet struggle didn't fit my definition of success, so I avoided it. I didn't realize that the most dangerous paths are often the ones that feel comfortable and socially approved. The people who were truly building something meaningful weren't loud about it. They weren't posting every step. They weren't constantly celebrating. They were tired. They were uncertain. They were often alone. And I misunderstood that loneliness. I thought it meant they were failing. In reality, they were separating themselves from distractions long enough to become focused. When I ran from that phase, because it felt like being left behind, while others were out enjoying themselves, I didn't want to be the one staying in, working quietly, sacrificing short-term pleasure. I wanted balance, but what I really wanted was approval. I chose paths that kept me connected to everyone else instead of paths that would have required me to grow apart for a while. Quiet struggle feels uncomfortable because it removes validation. No one is telling you you're doing the right thing. No one is watching. You're forced to rely on discipline instead of motivation, belief instead of applause. I wasn't ready for that. I needed external proof, and because of that, I abandoned the very process that could have changed my life. At 70, I see it clearly. Struggle without recognition isn't a sign you're off course. It's often the price of becoming competent, resilient, and independent. The people I once thought were behind ended up ahead, not because they were special, but because they endured the quiet phase I refused to tolerate. If you're in that phase right now, don't rush to escape it. I did, and I spent decades paying for that decision.
Quiet struggle also feels confusing because it strips away your identity. When you stop chasing comfort, approval, or easy wins, you're left alone with yourself. No labels, no shortcuts, just effort and uncertainty. I avoided that space for most of my life because it forced me to confront who I really was and who I wasn't yet. In my 20s, I wanted to feel ahead. I wanted to feel like I was progressing faster than others. Quiet struggle doesn't give you that feeling. It humbles you. It makes you feel small, inexperienced, and unfinished. I mistook that feeling for failure. In reality, it was the feeling of learning, something I never allowed myself to stay in long enough. The people who stayed in that uncomfortable phase learned patience. They learned how to work without reward. They learned how to keep promises to themselves. I ran from those lessons. I chose paths where I could look competent quickly instead of becoming competent slowly. That choice followed me everywhere. There's something else no one tells you. Quiet struggle is often invisible, even to the people closest to you. You can be doing the hardest work of your life and still feel misunderstood. That loneliness is part of the process. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're building something that hasn't taken shape yet. At 70, I understand that the confidence I admired in others wasn't natural. It was earned in seasons of doubt and obscurity. I wanted the confidence without paying the price, so when doubt showed up, I quit, over and over again. If you're struggling quietly right now, don't assume you're lost. You might be exactly where growth happens, at the point where the old version of you no longer works and the new one hasn't fully formed yet.
The quiet struggle is where most people turn back, and that's why it's such a powerful signal. When no one is watching, when progress feels slow, when doubt is louder than encouragement, you're forced to answer a question that defines your future. Will you keep going without reassurance? I couldn't, and that answer cost me more than any single failure ever did. In my 20s and 30s, I believed that if something was right, it would feel right. I thought the right path would energize me, motivate me, and reward me quickly enough to keep me moving. What I didn't understand is that the right path often feels thankless at first. It demands effort before it gives meaning. It asks you to invest before it shows results. And if you're not prepared for that delay, you'll abandon the very work that could change your life. I remember starting things with excitement, new routines, new goals, new directions. But the moment the excitement faded and the work became repetitive, lonely, and uncertain, I took that as a sign I was wasting my time. I told myself I needed clarity, better timing, more confidence. In reality, I needed endurance. The people who moved ahead weren't more motivated, they were more patient with discomfort. Quiet struggle also tests your relationship with yourself. When no one is checking on you, when no one cares whether you show up or not, your integrity becomes the only fuel you have. I hadn't built that muscle. I depended on external pressure to keep me moving. When that pressure disappeared, so did my consistency. And without consistency, talent means nothing. Over time, avoiding quiet struggle reshaped my entire life. I chose environments that demanded less from me. I lowered my goals so I wouldn't have to feel inadequate. I told myself stories about being content when I was really just tired of starting over. The tragedy wasn't that I failed, it was that I stopped demanding growth from myself to avoid the discomfort of effort. What hurts most at 70 is knowing that the life I admired from a distance was built in exactly the phase I kept escaping. The discipline, the confidence, the freedom, all of it was forged in silence, repetition, and doubt. I wanted the results without living through the process. So if your struggle feels quiet, slow, and unseen, don't rush to escape it. Don't assume you're behind. That phase is not a detour, it's the path. And leaving it too early doesn't protect you from pain. It only postpones it until the cost is far higher and the time to recover is far shorter. If I could take you back with me to one moment,
It wouldn't be a failure or a crisis. It would be an ordinary evening in my late 20s, sitting alone, feeling tired, unsure, and unnoticed. Nothing was wrong on the surface, but inside there was a quiet voice asking me to keep going, to stay with the discomfort a little longer, to trust that the effort meant something even if I couldn't see it yet. I ignored that voice. I chose relief instead, and that choice repeated itself until it became my life. Quiet struggle is uncomfortable because it offers no immediate reward, no applause, no certainty, no guarantees. All it gives you is the chance to become stronger without anyone knowing yet. That's why most people escape it. They don't quit because they can't do the work. They quit because they can't stand not being recognized for it. I was one of them. As the years passed, I noticed something painful. The people who stayed in that quiet phase began to change in ways I couldn't fake. They spoke with confidence, not arrogance. They moved with calm, not urgency. They didn't rush decisions because they trusted themselves. I mistook that confidence for luck or talent, but now I see the truth. They earned it in years when no one was watching, and quitting would have been easier. The cruel part of avoiding quiet struggle is that it doesn't make life easier in the long run. It makes it fragile. When real hardship shows up, you don't have the inner strength to face it. I avoided small discomforts when I was young, and later I had to face much bigger ones without preparation. Regret, limited options, fear of starting over when time felt scarce. That's a heavy price for avoiding a little discomfort early. If you're in your 20s or 30s and your life feels hard in a quiet, lonely way, please don't mistake that for failure. That feeling doesn't mean you're behind. It means you're stretching beyond who you've been. It means you're learning to rely on yourself instead of approval. It means you're building something real, even if it's invisible right now. I didn't stay in that phase long enough to let it change me. I kept leaving just before the growth happened. And now at 70, I understand the truth with painful clarity. The quiet struggle you're tempted to escape is often the exact place where your future is being built. Stay there. Be patient. Keep going, especially when no one is watching.